In a video, and it's been a long time since we've given you an update on the cars side of the business. It's been bubbling away under the background, in the background, as it were. So this is the Clubsport car. It's a heritage shell which we've backdated to Mark III, Mark II sort of style. So it's going to have a centre binnacle dash, side mount rad, and those sort of features. But we want the sidebars and the rear seat mounts that the MPI came with. So the good news is it's going to pay in the middle of September, so we should have the build well underway by the end of the year in terms of the final build. So at the minute we're doing dry build on all the components, doing our revisions to it to make it, to RestoMod it as we want to, and basically ironing everything out before it goes to paint, and we can build it when it gets back. So one of the issues we've come across is regarding the centre binnacle and the curved sort of dashboard that sits behind it. With the standard air vents, there's quite a big standoff in the bulkhead. June will do a little video section here to show you that the bulkhead comes in anyway, and then the vent sits on top of it, so you don't get a smooth run from the door edge round to behind the binnacle. You'll see it on some cars where they've got big bulges in the dashboard. In this car, we can't have that. It's a very high quality car, and the parts under the skin are going to be as engineered and as as refined as we can make them, even though you don't see them. So the way we deal with situations like this is we know where the heater outlet point is on the car, and we know where the centre binnacle is fit and things like that. So we're going to do a scan of this part of the interior, and then design a new air vent in space. So we've started dotting up the binnacle, so our scanning tool can see it. So we'll show you the scanning in a second, and we'll show you the CAD and how we develop the profile of a vent. So it essentially tucks in under here. The outlet for the heater is there, so we're aiming for an outlet towards this point, but not sitting anywhere near this this part of the bulkhead, but still fixing in the original points on the screen, both sides. So once we have the scan data, which is a whole series of thousands of points, the software and the scan tool then creates a mesh from it. So this is the mesh of the area which June created from the scanning, and you can see it's recognisable. You have the binnacle here, the bulkhead where we have our issue area, and then you have the top rail. That's the front of the car. That's the dash rail and the steering column bracket there. And our outlet for our heater is down in this area. So it's not a particularly high fine mesh, but it doesn't really need to be. We have the pickup points here and here for the vent surface, as it were. But it's good enough to give us the surface of the bulkhead. It's given us an issue and the entry point of where our heater is going to be, and other spatial elements. So the software uses an ANSYS SpaceDream software, which is a fantastic piece of kit. You can basically go in space and just start creating product, as it were. So from here, I'll show you the vent we've developed, and you can probably see from the part why we don't try and guess these things. So there's the vent we've created, and it was all created in space, so you can check it against surfaces. Make sure you've got clearances, you're not going to interfere with anything. So it picks up on the existing points on the dash rail top in the conventional place. But you can see I've shaped it so it all comes around really, it's sort of angled quite heavily backwards to the bulkhead. Comes in close and actually tucks behind a protrusion on the bulkhead that we were going to have an issue with. And then you have the inlet for the vent facing the heater outlet here. So the small pipe, it's only diameter 30 pipe, is going to be quite short and neat from the heater up to the vent itself. So once we're happy with the design and it's not touching in, there's no interferences, you can see in the back through that's part of the mesh that was missing, but it didn't really matter. You can check your clearances, make sure you're not coming through any part of the car that you shouldn't be, and there's good clearance around all the points, enough of a distance from the bulkhead to the part to get the pipe on. But you can see, I turn it around into some sort of orientation. You can see the run we're going to get on the dashboard now. The dash panel now is going to come in and tuck really nicely right behind the dash panel. So the area available down here for putting bits and pieces is going to be maximised, and it's going to be a really smooth curve without the big bulge we would have had from using the standard vent here. So the shape, we're going to 3D print this part now, and it'll be a functional 3D part, so it'll be in a high strength, reasonably high finish. It doesn't need to be a magnificent finish part, but the main thing is to be high strength and to be temperature resistant above 100 degrees C. But you can see the form of the part. What I'll do is turn the scan data off, so you can see the form of the part goes from a fairly flat oblong into a round. And if you try and create this any other way, from aluminium or steel or whatever, it'll be a really laborious job. But that's the beauty of 3D scanning and printing, is you can create quite elaborate parts which historically would be injection molded parts, but you can print them quite easily. If I turn a plane on, the other thing I've done with this is, because we've got quite a change in angle from this part of the vent to the part of the vent around the corner, I've put a couple of diverter plates in. So I might still protrude this one in here further a little bit more to try and grab a bit more of the air, because the air won't really easily flow around this corner. But it means that the air will, rather than the air just hitting this area here on the screen, it's been forced to take a route to the edges, so you get much more of a greater wipe area from the vent. And we've put little retention features on to grab the hose and things like that, which you would normally do. And two little bosses here to thread into, like the standard part. This is the driver side, so the passenger side is a symmetrical opposite part. So once we're happy with this, we'll just mirror it and then print a pair as a pair of parts. But just gives you an insight as to how we design and develop parts which otherwise you wouldn't easily be able to do. And yeah, it gives a hint as to what Clubsport's going to be. If we go to this much effort and detail on a vent that you don't see, what's the rest of the car going to be like? You'll see soon enough. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed a little brief insight into how we design some of the components, and catch you in another video when we've got a little bit more of an update to give on the car.